Hey everyone, Blue Bass 86.
Gonna do another lure build. This is, I guess, by request, and this is the hardest type of bait that I build. Or maybe not the hardest, but it's definitely up there. That's the spinnerbait. I am not by any means an expert at making spinnerbaits. My spinnerbaits aren't pretty. I call them big ugly spinnerbaits because they are. I make the heavier size. These are 5/8, 3/4, 1 ounce sizes, and they're ugly. They catch fish, so that's all that really matters to me. But we are going to start. I have two different kinds of wire. I have the closed eye and also the open R-bend wire. I myself prefer this closed heavier gauge wire because I use, like I said, they're big ugly spinnerbaits. I use big blades, they're heavy heads, it's a big hook. This is a big 6/0 hook, and the size of blades that I'm building on these, they're gonna vibrate. It doesn't matter if you put a heavier wire on or not. So we've got my spinnerbait mold here. This is spinner jig, large sizes. Nothing real fancy about it. It doesn't really have much of a keeper, and I like to use trailers on them, so I'm going to use an 800 size trailer keeper. It doesn't fit in there great, but it does fit somehow, some way. Yeah, it's just going to have to be hanging down a little ways. That's what I thought it was. I haven't built a spinnerbait in a while. I tend to use these mainly during the cold water months. My own spinnerbaits. I use spinnerbaits quite a bit, but my homemade ones are pretty much just wintertime baits. So there's how it looks in the middle of the mold. This doesn't close all the way, but I gotta make sure my hook is straight. And I hold that wire so it's straight. Like I said, this doesn't close perfectly, so we're gonna have a little bit of extra wingies and things over the pour. It's not gonna be real pretty, but it's easy because of the shape of this head to clean all that stuff off real quick. And just to smooth it up a little bit more, I'm going to use my Dremel here. Okay, so we've got that cleaned up pretty good. This is one of the harder parts of building a spinnerbait. You can't dip this head, so kind of got get creative here. You got heat. This is just a big 1 pound tub of powder paint from Harbor Freight. The few colors that they do offer, that's a great way to buy your paint. It's like $7 for a pound of it instead of $7 or $8 for 4 ounces. I just use a cheap spoon here, get our stuff fluffed up, put our spinnerbait over the heat, get it heated up nice and evenly.
pretty.
But that head is all painted. Now, just like all the rest of them,
Go into the
oven, the toaster oven. They're kind of pain to hang also because they stick all over the place inside of the oven. But you get them sitting in there, 350, 20 minutes. I've got one already made up over here, already painted and baked. So we could skip that part just for the video. Let's use the same size eyes as everything else. And I either just knocked an eye off or my eye fell off. I just knocked an eye off. Cool. My bigger pliers. You're gonna have to twist some wire here. Heavier duty pliers. A lot of times I'll do living rubber with these. I'm not sure. Maybe I've got some living rubber. I might do that. I'm not sure if I have any living rubber ones in the boat right now. And chartreuse, purple, black. I think I used it all. Oh well. So I like, again, big ugly spinnerbait. So this one has a lot of skirt material. I use a lot of real complicated spinnerbait colors, white and chartreuse. It's pretty much the end of the list. So we have 4 full tabs of white, somewhere up here is some white wire, but I don't know where it is, so we'll use this instead. I let myself run completely out of copper, so I got this cheap gold wire. It doesn't work great, but it still works, and this bait's for me, so unless somebody wants it, you know, give it to somebody else. So I tie these differently than my bladed jigs and standard jigs. I tie these upside down, so my skirt material is going to lay out away from the bait, and just a little tiny bit is pointed down towards the hook. Same wrap that we do the other ones. Flip it over. Wind it up. Don't over twist it and cut your skirt material. Smash that down. Then you just gotta pick how much skirt you want hanging down below your hook. You don't want too much, but you want a little bit. Okay, so now this little interior piece right here kind of pushes outward, and that helps keep your bait flared out. And but also just the way I tied it, because the skirt was tied facing up, now it falls over and billows out instead of just being straight and flat. So that's the tied bait. Let's see if I can find. I got almost all my parts out that I needed. doesn't look like it, but I reorganized some of my stuff, and now I'm having a hard time finding things. Okay, so I have two very large copper hammered Colorado blades, a couple of my favorite style of blades. Get your clevis. Goes onto your smaller of the two blades. Slide that on. I do one bead, one small metal spacer, second bead. You don't even really need to do that if you don't want to, at least not the way that I wrap these, but I like to make sure I have a little bit of space. It's a good ball bearing swivel. This is one place that I don't want to skimp on quality of the swivel. This is where we get weird. So this was taught to me by a guy on YouTube named SmallJaw67 that does this. It's a locking wrap, so you take this and you roll it over, so you have a hook, you grab it, roll this down so it's rolled over. This is not the prettiest way to do it, but you won't lose any blades. You just gotta pull that hook so it goes over the top of your main arm. Kind of push it back down a little bit if you can. So now you have your hook over your arm, and you just smash that down. That blade is not going anywhere. We have two large hammered copper Colorado blades. It needs to bend down and out a little ways to get the blades in the right position. Yup, that's ugly, but that right there will catch some big bass in cold water. It's gonna have a lot of thump. I like to put a big trailer on the back of this. Not necessarily, I guess, a big one, but a lot of times I'll put a chartreuse split tail or a swim bait, something to give some contrast or some thump and more bulk. Sometimes it'll even be a almost 5-inch swim bait, so it'll be hanging all the way down off the bottom of this bait. But yeah, there you go. It's a 5/8 ounce big ugly spinnerbait, ready to go catch big ugly bass, hopefully. So I got a whole bunch of orders to make, a whole bunch of stuff to make for myself, so we're gonna shut this off and keep working. Try not to freeze. We'll catch you next time.